Hey guys, this is Donald. Happy New Year 2024. Super excited to be talking to you, and I plan this year to be creating 25 videos on this topic, so stay tuned for some awesome stuff this year. But today, to start things off, I wanted to talk about not just why do I talk about call center, why do I talk about it in general, because call centers worldwide are $300 billion globally. It's huge, and it's growing to where by 2030 it's looking to be about $750 billion, three-quarters of a trillion with a T, right? Time out. But this model that I teach is called a virtual receptionist company. In the US alone, it's a $3 billion industry, so about 1% of the global market. So why do we talk about this, right? Well, there's two main categories that call centers fall into. One is outbound and one is inbound. And today I'd like to focus on three reasons why I personally prefer to be an inbound call center operator as opposed to an outbound one. Okay, so let's get straight into it. The first thing is that it's easier to manage. One of the things to understand about running an outbound call center, because there are, like, if you try to start an outbound call center, you're gonna get some people interested in that service. You're gonna be, having some prospects asking, how can get it done. With inbound, sometimes at first it's harder for people to recognize the value because it's not purely focused on, oh, we're going to make sales for you, right? It's inbound, therefore that means for your client that have calls coming in, you do the best job you possibly can for those calls and interactions on other channels that are coming in. So why do we prefer that? It's easier to manage it as an operator because instead of being outbound, which is more performance based, right? Think of telemarketing companies, think of survey companies, think of any company that needs to call out oftentimes to people that don't want to be called in order to try to accomplish a goal. Whether it's selling something, whether it's, soliciting answers, whether it's collecting money for an unpaid bill, right? It's a performance-based service offering. And so the KPIs associated with that are performance-based. Oh, how many dials is this person making, per hour, per day? What percentage of the time are they in their seat? That's called an occupancy percentage. It's really about eking out as much as you can possibly extract from an agent, and that agent having a certain amount of skill to be able to close or, achieve the goal as many times as possible in a day. And so that's stressful, right? Whenever your job is based almost purely on performance, it can be stressful. With inbound, the KPIs are different, the metrics are different. It's more so focused on, okay, were you adhering to the script? Were you saying the greeting correctly? Were you, pleasant and presentable, right? Did the person have their simple questions answered, yes or no? It's more of a yes or no scenario as opposed to a how good did you do this, right? And so when the metrics are more focused on answering the phone quickly, not having a long hold queue for people that are trying to reach one of your business clients, it's just a lot simpler. Having a short hold queue is just, have enough people to answer the phone. Having the greeting followed is just having the script in front of them. The system-based thing as opposed to agents having to have a tremendous amount of extra expertise or training or mindset in order to get it done. So from an operation standpoint, from a training standpoint, it's a lot easier. And the other thing is that client expectations are different, right? So if I'm a client and I hire some performance-based service, whether it's someone doing ad spend for me, whether someone is trying to grow my social media account, whether someone is trying to cold call to land me new leads and sales for my business, right? I am constantly looking at, what they said they were going to do, how they measure up against that, and figuring out whether it makes sense for me to continue paying them, right? It's a constant thing every single month, over and over again. With, an inbound based thing, the expectations are different. It's like, well, are they answering the phone, right? Do they sound good when they're talking to my people, right? Is anyone rude? Are they able to, basically take away some headache that we're dealing with handling auto call internally? If they do those things that are a lot less pressure focused, I'm happy. The expectations for your clients are different. The expectations for your agents are different. Okay. Point two is that, in that same vein, it's easier to hire and retain agents. One of the big things that I think about is, what is the skill set required for an agent to do a certain job? Right? If I'm hiring sales rep, I need people that are sharp. I need people that, have a certain amount of motivation, a certain mindset, a certain sort of tenacity. They need to have that dog in them, right? They need to be a lion. They need to be a tiger, some type of animal quality in order to get the job done every single day in, day out. When it comes to a virtual receptionist role, which again is inbound, it's more focused on, are they charismatic? Are they someone that I just like to talk to? Do I smile when I hang up, right? Are they decent at chit chat? Do they have sort of a zest for life a little bit, right? Basically, are they a positive person? They don't have to be a salesperson. They don't have to be someone that's constantly pushing and has all this tenacity. They can be someone that's chilling. And frankly, it's a lot easier to find and hire people that are just sort of chilling, want to just show up, do their job, and get paid enough money to live a decent life, right? If you can obviously pay that and provide that, you're able to find, in my opinion, a lot more people to work with. It's easier to find them. And in terms of their willingness to stay with the company, right? Salespeople are very commission focused. If they're not, hitting certain numbers or metrics for a few months, they might be out, especially if they're any good, right? And they're actually a huge asset to your company. Where people that are in a receptionist role, in an inbound role, they can take calls for years, right? They pretty much want to show up. Maybe if they're really good, they'll be promoted within your company to, a certain other position. But the goal isn't I need to dominate and take over the world. It's more so, hey, I just want to show up and help people. So, I just think it's a completely different dynamic. The third thing is, it's easier to be compliant. One of the scary things about operating a company, if you have a lot of regulations and things to deal with, it's very scary. And so I'd rather be in a situation where, I'm not calling into do not call list. I'm not dealing with, potential lawsuits or all kinds of potential liability concerns that I'm running into, because as a business model, I'm oftentimes calling people that don't want to be called, right? When that happens, that's definitely sort of a factor in how your operation runs on a day-to-day basis. When people are calling you, the only thing you need to do is give them the right information and do it pleasantly, right? That's a much easier sort of barrier, and frankly, you're not dealing with the same type of liability. My last company, we had over 500 attorneys as clients at one point, and we never got sued by any of them. There was one guy that threatened it, but that didn't happen. So I think to have 500 attorney clients and not get sued means you're in a pretty, not that risky business. But if we were cold calling on behalf of attorneys, I don't think it would have gone as well. So with that said, I think, in my experience and from what I've seen, not only for myself, but companies I've consulted with, and also some of our students that have taken the course, there have been over 500 now, close to 500 now, that have launched. Some of them decided to do outbound. And what we found is that, again, it's easier to operate doing an inbound call center. It's easier to hire as well as retain agents, and there's a lot less liability, right? On the inbound side, you're only thinking about credit card compliance if you choose to accept them, which is very easy, or HIPAA, which again is very easy. Neither of those things are forms you have to fill out or certification. They're just compliance guidelines that you need to make sure you adhere to, just some simple trainings, right? So with that said, I hope you got some value out of this video. Again, my goal this year is to do about 25. If you're interested in the program, be sure to check out the link below. And more importantly, if you enjoy the content in general, I'm gonna be putting more out, but I want to be inspired by, you know, people liking and commenting and subscribing to the channel. So make sure you do that if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.